Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first flipped staff meeting. Make sure that your volume is turned up so that you can listen to all that we have to say as we go through. The first thing we wanted to talk to everybody about was the first annual Cape Survivor Field Day coming up on May 21st from 12 to 4 at the high school. We're super excited to say that we already have 15 volunteers for this day. All other schools have 5 was the goal, so we've already exceeded what we were looking for. So we hope that everybody comes out to enjoy this great event. Actually, the day before the field day is SC's vendor market located here at the Lewis School in the front lawn. $20 gets you a table and you can bring items to sell.
We want to talk to you about ASAP a little bit. We know it's the end of the year, but as we move forward into next year, we also want to talk to you about substitutes. Mondays and Fridays are very difficult days to find subs. The district has asked that we not hold IEPs that day. We do realize that's impossible, but we definitely need to make sure that we are looking at those Mondays and Fridays because there's a lot of substitute needs on those days. Personal and sick time. That was something that came up at a principals meeting recently where there are definitely looking at your personal time and if you're tying sick time to it. So if you take 3 personal days and 2 sick days in the same week, they are definitely going to be looking at those things because you're not supposed to be able to do that. So please make sure that you are putting in for board approval off if you need to have a time off during the school year. Next is the school board policy 540. That is the one where you can put in one time a year to attend a field trip for your child. You only get one, or an IEP for your child. But you need to make sure that if it's a field trip, not field day, that you are assigned as a chaperone. You cannot just attend and not be assigned as a chaperone for the trip. And lastly, make sure you're keeping Gretchen in the loop. What's been happening lately is a lot of people have been taking personal time off or FMLA or whatever, but Gretchen or maternity leaves, and she doesn't always know when you're off, when you've gone out earlier than what you said you were going to do or coming back earlier than you said you were going to come back. She not only has to make sure the substitutes are planned, but she also has to at the end of every week, she has to rectify and make sure that the time you took off is actually in the system properly. So please make sure and keep Gretchen in the loop as to when you're leaving and when you're coming back if you have student teaching or anything like that.
It wouldn't be a staff meeting without mention of IEPs. This is a reminder that behavior plans should be attached to the IEP draft when it is sent home. And that is the quick and dirty version, not the long version that you all use for teaching purposes in the classroom. But the quick and dirty version should go home as part of the IEP. We also want to say thank you to all staff. We've done a great job collecting parent input, getting drafts sent home early. You all spend an inordinate amount of time planning and preparing behind the scenes for the IEPs, and we really think you guys are doing a great job, and it wouldn't be right for us to say thank you without giving a special shout out to our coordinators.
And Jen.
And Jen.
That's right.
Welcome, Jen. And she's in the loop. So thank you to everybody for making our IEPs wonderful.
Okay, the next piece of business is incident reports. First of all, everybody does a wonderful job getting those to their administrators in a timely fashion for the most part. I do want to review the definition of a restraint. Physical restraint means a restriction imposed by a person that immobilizes or reduces the ability of a student to freely move arms, legs, body, or head. we just need to keep this in mind as we're filling out the incident reports. Anytime that we are using a physical restraint that inhibits the movement of arms and legs, body or head, we need to use the Devereaux terminology for the emergency procedure used. This is super helpful in filling out the incident reports. It makes it much more specific so I don't have to guess what was done, and makes the process just that much more cleaner. Our incident reports are actually going to be used probably in the other schools within the district because it follows the format of reporting so well. When we do enter a restraint report in eSchool, a letter is generated to the parents. So it's always important to make sure, and everybody typically does this, notify the parents the day of the procedure that was used or the event that happened, so that they know that they should be expecting a letter through the mail. That's about it with the incident reports. As much information as you can provide is helpful. The more information, the better.
Okay, some of the things that we were going to talk to you about on the in-service day, time for summer school prep. As you know, checkouts are coming up, so we want to make sure you guys are all prepared for summer school. We want to make sure that every teacher, you guys know your kids best and you know what they need, but so we want to make sure that you are getting ready and getting the students ready for all of that stuff. Make sure your folders and server files are up to date and that they are accurate. You just got information about what we want for the summer folder for the creating a summer folder. But in addition, we want to make sure that it's not just worksheets, that you're actually creating meaningful lessons and activities that the summer staff can follow if you're not working this summer. So please make sure you're doing that. When it comes to principal requisitions, we're asking all of our staff to fill out the principal requisitions for the summer. And what I mean by that is if you normally put in for $50 a month for community outings, please put in for July and August, so that when the summer staff hit the ground running, they're going to be here the 28th. The kids are going to start the 28th, and they won't have time to get July in and make sure that they've done it. And a lot of them don't know to do that, so please put in the principal requisitions on their behalf. In addition to that, Sam's Club order. The last Sam's Club run is coming up. Please make sure you order everything through Sam's Club. It costs us a lot of money at Sam's Club, but we'd rather do that than have everybody going to Walmart or doing things differently than everybody else. I've had a lot of reimbursement forms come through where people are using the Walmart card to buy things that are very inappropriate, and this is something we're going to talk about next year. But those are going to be closely looked at from now on, because we really need to make sure, one, cut down on our spending, but also when it comes to ordering things like pens or buying things like pens at Walmart, we have those here. We are not going to reimburse for things that we have here or that can be ordered through Sam's Club. So please make sure you're doing your Sam's Club order, because we're not going to pay you for everything that you're doing at the Walmart and everything else. We're going to have to be looking a little more closely at that. And that's about all I have.
The best
Is
part
there
about
something
this slide is probably that you all get, and I should have mentioned from the beginning, you all get the day of May 26th to do just these things, to do what Vivian just talked about. We're not this format of the staff meeting replaces our good old meeting in the auditorium. So your day on May 26th really is intended to give you all of that time to work on your summer school preparation. And Steve sent out a email just today, the 15th, about the behavior spreadsheet. So you're going to say hi, Steve?
Hi, Steve. If you have any questions on the procedures that Tom sent out, please give me a call or shoot me an email if you're not sure about something before you start and get kind of boggled up. So just give me a call first. It's pretty self-explanatory. The main thing to remember is that the only document going into the summer folder is the Excel spreadsheet. Everything else will be in the student's summer binder.
All right. Okay. Next up are our checkouts. For checkouts, you're going to need to bring your classroom binders, your laptop, so that we can go over your server updates, and we will also have your audit binders need to be available. You'll be able to grab one of those, and we'll give you directions on how that's going to be done the day of. They'll be
you don't
chosen
have
randomly.
you don't have to grab all your audit binders until you show up, and we'll tell you which one to grab.
Just like you see right here on the screen, June 5th from 3 to 6, Richard Shields Elementary, the Early Childhood Education Wing, Autism Pre-K, and Life Skills will be able to sign up for checkouts. June 7th, High School, Mariner, Beacon, and MES from 3 to 6. And then Thursday, June 8th, from 3 to 5, we abbreviated that time period because there's a board meeting that night, will be Lewis School, ILC, and Specialist.
Some of the things we'll be reviewing at checkout are if there's any errors on the server, Tom Jackson will be providing those to us so that we know in advance if you have an extra space or if you have a name misspelled or not the proper format for the file, so that we can make sure all of those things are done. So when he pulls the groups for summer, it makes it easier on him. Also, we're going to be reviewing the monies. April has done a great job this year of collecting data on how much money each of you have spent, shockingly. And we're going to be reviewing that with each of you and talking about how we can look toward next year and how things can be cut back.
One other thing in regards to the server files for checkout, on the SCL that went out this morning, Tom also had a screenshot of what exactly should be in a student's server file when you open each individual student's name. So use that as a reference as you're cleaning up your server files for checkout.
Student groupings for next year. As you all know, Love Creek is set to open in July. Susie and Steve and I went on a tour a couple weeks ago. It looks fantastic. Our space is beautiful, and the rest of the building is beautiful as well. You guys are really going to love it. I encourage you all to take a tour before the school year starts next year and really look at it. It's a beautiful space. But we do appreciate everybody letting all of our families know that we will not be at Shields next year. We are going to be operating out of Love Creek for our kindergarten through third grade, and our fourth and fifth will be at Milton Elementary. We may have a kindergarten group at Milton Elementary. We're still trying to see how that teases out depending on the number of kids we get in the near future. But some other changes around here for next year. A lot of people have asked about the workday at the Lewis School. It will still be 8 to 3:30. The student day will not change. It'll be 8:30 to 2:45. But one of the big changes for next year is the before and after care. We will not be operating a before and after care. The YMCA has graciously agreed to pick that up because of the extended day. Because of the time changing throughout the rest of the district, they are going to be doing our before and after care. So as people are asking you, please let them know we have no control over the payments to before and after care, but we do know the costs, and it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes or an hour. It is still the same cost for before or after care or both. Trust me, it's still a benefit. I realize it's a payment that people were not used to, but it's still a huge benefit to those that are used to paying $200 a week to have daycare someplace else. But the before and after care, the children will not be allowed to be down in the classrooms before 8:30, and they will not be allowed past 2:45. This also includes your own children. So please be mindful in other buildings and in here, we are asking that you not have your own children in your classroom when you're trying to work. That is our planning time here at the Lewis School, and it is not appropriate to have students in there. I've seen a lot of what I'll call slack a little bit being given lately, and where I see staff's kids in the classroom and people are talking openly about students. That is confidentiality, and it is a breach of that. We are not to be having meetings while other people's kids are in the classroom. So please be mindful. And the things that you have around. If they're sitting at your desk, you may have confidential things at your desk. They should not be exposed to anything confidential about our students. So please be mindful of that. We're going to talk about the food too that we get from Sam's Club and places like that. You know, that stuff is for the students use. We purchased that for students, not for staff and not for staff's kids. So please make sure that you're being mindful of that as well. But these are things that we'll be talking about next year, but I just want to make sure you're all prepared to have before and after care settled for your own personal children so that they're not wandering around the building.
Okay, our Pyramid Professional Development is wrapping up its second year, and I'm happy to say that it's still in full swing. People are still very excited about it, and we're all learning a lot. Just today, May 15th, we welcomed our Pyramid visitors, Lori Frost, Andy Bondi, and Catherine Horton, as well as Serena, a representative from China who will be opening a Pyramid office in China in the near future. She was here to learn from us. Part of the reason that Andy and Lori were here was at Catherine's request to show us off, and also at Catherine's request to help us out a little bit. She has noticed, and others have noticed, that our free time has kind of dwindled into something that we really weren't expecting and maybe that we really don't want. So we have decided that free time in our program will now be changed to choice time, because it really is not a time for children just to be free to do whatever they want. It is a time for children to make choices and our time to teach. So choice time, children's choice, but our time to teach. And we're making this change because we want to increase student rate of engagement throughout their entire day, especially here at the Lewis School. When you have a child who needs to be in a D setting that is working and stringently striving to get to a lesser restrictive environment, it is really important that we keep them engaged and keep them learning at all times. And with some few tweaks that that Catherine will be presenting and that we can help you with too, we really think that we can increase that rate of engagement. And we even encourage all of you to take some baseline in your own classrooms right now as far as each child's time that they're engaged in a 6.5-hour school day, and time that they are just sitting freely with, even if it's a reinforcer of their choice, but they're just sitting there with it and really not learning anything, is not really considered engagement time.
That
So-
goes for the voc age students too, that are engaged in
Absolutely.
an activity. They may be shredding for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but what are they learning during that time? It is still an opportunity for us to come in and engage them in a learning opportunity while they're engaged in their activity.
Right. So we're going to be talking a lot about that bottom bullet there on do, say, and listen lessons. Because every activity, whether it is the shredding at a vocational site, raising a flag, using a spin toy, coloring, whatever you can think of as an activity that your children may be engaged in, we think that we can increase our engagement or increase the lessons that those children are engaged in during a day by doing something like the do, say, and listen. So there'll be more from Catherine and us to come on that, but be thinking of ways that you can increase the engagement rate in your classroom. And that being said, Andy and Lori and Catherine continue to complement all of our classrooms from this year and from last year on the base elements of the pyramid. We are doing a great job implementing the pyramid, and these are things that we can do to supplement our learning and to just push our program forward. And we are working on 8 more classrooms to be chosen for next year. We just went through that planning with Catherine this morning, so more to come on the 8 for next year.
During the school improvement team this year, we discussed having the paraeducator sit representative chosen for next year, and it's kind of evolved to where there's 3 people that have decided to throw their name in the hat, and we thank them for agreeing to do that. They are Lisa Thorpe, Jackie Dorney, who am I missing? And
Debbie.
Deb Pretty, excuse me, and Deb Pretty. So they have written bios for you. The next 3 slides are each one of their bios. Please feel free to read each one of them. What's going to happen is we will also have the bios available on May 26th. And Steve is the only administrator here that day, so what he will be doing is traveling around. He'll be a one-man show. He'll be going to Milton Elementary in the morning, and he will set an agenda. Like, I'll be there from 7:30 to 8, and I'm just saying this is the times. I'll be there from 7:30 to 8. I'll be at Mariner from 8 to 8:30. Whatever he sets, and there'll be a bucket there, and people can vote and put their name in the bucket. And then by the end of the day, we will know who the SIT representative for next year will be. It's the only way we could figure out to do it, so there would be a representative that represents all of you, but may not work in your building. So look forward to that on May 26th as well.
And the voting is for paraprofessionals
Yes.
only.
Yes, you can only vote if you are a paraeducator. So.
All right, I'm going to scroll and just spend some time on each of the next 3 slides. Each para that's put their name in has typed up a little bio. So take the time to read, and then, like we said, there'll be the bios will be with the voting box, and we can email them out when requested also. Okay, guys, we can wrap this up. We are eager to hear what you think about this style of staff meeting and are hopeful that we can use it in the future. Thanks for everything.
Have a great Memorial Day.